They stood in the freezing rain, holding 2 old suitcases. The house behind them, the home they built brick by brick, no longer belonged to them. Their own daughter had just slammed the door shut. But what she didn't know, what no one knew, was that this house held a secret, one buried for over 40 years. And when they were forced back inside one last time, they discovered a hidden passage that would expose lies, betrayal, and a truth so powerful, it would turn their daughter's world upside down. Chapter 1. The House They Built. Arthur and Evelyn Moore had lived in that house for 43 years. They moved in as newlyweds. Young, hopeful, and deeply in love, Arthur worked 2 jobs. Evelyn stayed up late sewing curtains and painting walls. They raised their only child, Linda, in that house. Birthday candles were blown out there. School photos were taped to the fridge. Tears were cried on those wooden stairs. That house wasn't just wood and stone. It was their life. When Arthur retired and Evelyn's health began to fail, Linda insisted they move in with her. "It's easier if everything is under my name," Linda said sweetly. "Just a formality." Trusting their daughter, they signed the papers. They never imagined what that signature would cost them. Chapter 2. When Love Turned Cold. First, Linda visited often. She brought groceries. She smiled. But slowly, things changed. She complained about expenses, about medical bills, about space. "You're always in the way," she snapped one night. Arthur laughed it off. Evelyn didn't. Then came the words that shattered everything. "This is my house now." They thought she was joking. She wasn't. One morning, Linda stood in the living room with crossed arms. "You need to leave." Evelyn's hands trembled. "Linda, where would we go?" Linda didn't answer. 30 minutes later, their bags were on the porch. The door closed. The locks clicked. Chapter 3. The night everything changed. Rain soaked through Arthur's coat. Evelyn coughed violently. They sat on the porch, unsure what to do. Arthur whispered, "I forgot something inside. My old toolbox." The back window was still unlocked, a habit from decades ago. They climbed in quietly. That's when Evelyn noticed something strange. A cold draft near the basement wall. Arthur followed it. Behind an old bookshelf was a door neither of them remembered. Chapter 4. The Secret Passage. The door creaked open. Dust filled the air. A narrow staircase descended into darkness. Arthur grabbed a flashlight. The steps led to a hidden room beneath the foundation. Inside were old legal documents, journals, a locked metal box. Evelyn opened a journal. Her breath caught. It was written in Arthur's father's handwriting. A story of land ownership, of a trust, of assets hidden to protect the family from greedy relatives. The house? It was never meant to be signed away permanently. The documents proved Linda had manipulated them. And the metal box? It held original property deeds and something else. Gold coins. Enough to change everything. Chapter 5. The truth comes out. The next morning, Arthur contacted an old lawyer friend. The documents were real, legally binding. Linda's ownership? Invalid. The house was still theirs. And her actions? Fraud. That evening, Linda returned confident. Until she saw them sitting calmly at the kitchen table. Arthur slid the documents across. Linda's face drained of color. "You knew? All this time?" Evelyn's voice was steady. "We trusted you." Linda screamed, threatened, then cried. But it was too late. Chapter 6. Consequences. Legal action followed. Linda was forced to move out. The house was restored to Arthur and Evelyn. But they didn't celebrate. They were heartbroken. Weeks later, Linda returned thinner, quieter. She fell to her knees. "I lost everything."
I'm sorry.
Arthur helped her up. "We didn't raise you to be heartless." They gave her one chance. Not as owners, not as victims, but as parents. Chapter 7. A different ending. Arthur and Evelyn renovated the house. They turned the basement into a small living space. They donated part of the gold to charity. Linda got therapy. Slowly, trust rebuilt, but never blindly again. The secret passage? They sealed it. Some secrets, Arthur said, exist to protect, not to tempt. Final message. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones we love the deepest. But truth has a way of surfacing. Hidden passages don't stay hidden forever. And betrayal always leaves footprints.